Hey guys, what is going on? This is Wrestlelamia, back with another episode. Nobody makes the news like professional wrestlers, and nobody covers it like Wrestlelamia. Join us now as Wrestlelamia looks at the wildest wrestling news stories and rumors you need to know, including Teddy Hart's arrest, controversy over possible additions to this year's WWE Hall of Fame, WWE Backstage ratings rocket, WWE stock downgraded, Triple H's weak excuse for NXT ratings, another potential Elimination Chamber bout, and more. Teddy Hart arrested. PW Insider's Mike Johnson is reporting that Teddy Hart was arrested on 11th February. Edward Ellison Annis, professionally known as Teddy Hart, 40 years old, was arrested yesterday in Richmond, Virginia, and is currently incarcerated at the Richmond City Jail. He is listed as being booked at midnight this morning, so he would have been arrested last night. According to court records, Annis has been charged with possession of a Schedule III narcotic and possession with intent to sell or distribute. According to the Wrestling Observer Figure 4 Online, Schedule III drugs include codeine, anabolic steroids, hydrocodone, and others in that family. Hart faces up to a year in jail and up to a $2,500 fine for the misdemeanor, while the possession with intent charge also carries jail time of between 1 and 10 years in prison or up to a year in jail with a fine not to exceed $2,500. As always, it's important to remember that these maximum sentences are rarely imposed and, of course, all parties are innocent until proven guilty. Nonetheless, Hart is no stranger to police. Wrestling Inc. mentioned Hart's past brushes with the law. Hart has had his share of legal issues throughout the years. He was arrested in December of 2014 by Royal Canadian Mounted Police on multiple sexual assault charges involving 2 women, which were dropped in June of 2016. He was most recently arrested on January 1, 2017 after attempting to evade arrest after being pulled over for a hazardous traffic violation in Arlington, Texas. Those charges were also eventually dropped. You may recall that Hart was embroiled in controversy when someone accused him and wrestler Chazin Rance of being involved in the disappearance of Hart's former girlfriend Samantha Fiddler. For those keeping track, Teddy is the son of Georgia Hart, sister to Bret the Hitman Hart, and has been wrestling since he signed with the WWF in 1998. The 40-year-old's WWF career didn't last as he reportedly had a bad attitude and was subsequently released. Since then, Hart has been a mainstay on the indie circuit and smaller promotions such as Ring of Honor, TNA, and more recently, Major League Wrestling. As always, Wrestlelamia will keep you updated on this story. WWE Backstage ratings rocket. This week's edition of WWE Backstage scored a big rating, in fact, the second biggest rating since the show's debut, and now fans are asking whether the ratings jump was due to CM Punk's appearance or help from some four-legged friends. PW Insider's Mike Johnson notes that the 211 episode of WWE Backstage on FS1 featuring CM Punk, Charlotte Flair, and Stephanie McMahon appearing brought 169,000 overnight viewers, up from last week's episode, which garnered 97,000 overnight viewers. That was the best number since November 2019. However, before wrestling's straight-edge superstar hurts himself patting himself on the back, take note that this week's Backstage began at 11:15 p.m. Eastern Time and had a strong lead-in. The second and final day of this year's Westminster Dog Show averaged 1.089 million viewers on FS1 and did a .17 rating in 18 to 49. Considering how low the ratings have been, FS1 will take whatever help it can get. Triple H's strategy for NXT defeating Dynamite. With NXT TakeOver Portland coming up, WWE Executive Vice President of Talent Paul Levesque, aka Triple H, held his usual conference call to discuss the black and gold brand status. One question that came up was NXT's inability to defeat AEW Dynamite on a regular basis. The game answered, "When you look at NXT on USA and you break down the numbers, it's very similar to a Raw number. It's very similar to a USA number, because that's where we're promoted, and that's where we're seen, and that's where everything else goes. But the long game is building up the brand that you've built." Triple H's statement that NXT and Raw are similar in numbers is puzzling because unless Vince McMahon has somehow transferred his mind into the cerebral assassin's body, NXT does draw a younger demographic, but it's nowhere close to Dynamite, nor is it a demographic that wins its time slot as Raw did this week. Trips talked about building up the all-important younger demographic. I think it's all about the long game, and what we have to do is get to the people in the younger demos. When you're promoted in younger demos and you're viewed in those younger demos promotionally, then those are the people you attract. Again, Hunter's comments are puzzling as the WWE promotes NXT on Raw and seems to have jump-started NXT last fall during the NXT Invasion angle leading into Survivor Series. The WWE dropped the ball, seeming to assume NXT's Survivor Series dominance was enough to keep the momentum going. That didn't happen, and the WWE may have stumbled when it ran a best-of show against Dynamite's live show, with NXT failing to win the ratings since. Triple H is correct in that NXT isn't going to turn around overnight, but WWE needs to accept its ratings aren't going up with the current format and lineup, or they need to overhaul the show, either moving to a larger set, bringing in more main roster stars, or changing the storylines. Vince Russo, by the way, is believed to be available too. What do you think? Is NXT doing well as it is, or should the WWE retool it? Be sure to leave your comments below. More Mr. McMahon heat on Matt Riddle. Riddle me this. What NXT superstar likes to use the word bro and antagonize the beast Brock Lesnar? If you guessed Matt Riddle, we're not impressed given the title on this news blurb, but we will be impressed if you successfully guess how much longer before Mr. McMahon future endeavors Riddle for continuing to call out Brock Lesnar, despite the WWE's reported directive that all NXT superstars refrain from tagging main roster superstars on social media, or in Riddle's case, tell a house show audience that he's going to retire Brock Lesnar. While there are rumors that the comments are a worked shoot, there are conflicting reports. Here's what Brian Alvarez had to say during an episode of Wrestling Observer Live. As far as I know, the Lesnar-Riddle thing is not a work. Vince isn't happy with Riddle calling out Lesnar, but Triple H doesn't care. So in Triple H's mind, if you want to go out on an NXT show and call out Lesnar, then go ahead. Maybe one day it'll catch on to the degree that people will want to get involved with it, but what I was told is that there's nothing going on. It's not a work. Triple H doesn't care, Vince doesn't like it, but it's NXT and NXT is NXT, and Triple H is allowing Riddle to do it. That's the story that I heard. The bottom line is if the matter upsets Mr. McMahon enough, if he truly is upset or simply working the fans, he'll put an end to it. A Riddle-Lesnar match doesn't seem to be the stuff of legend, except perhaps in Riddle's mind. 3 rumored names for 2020 WWE Hall of Fame. Fans are always interested to see who will go into the WWE Hall of Fame, and with WrestleMania 36 less than 2 months away, anticipation is growing as to who will join the New World Order and Batista in this year's class. WrestleVotes tweeted about 3 possible candidates, 2 of which have the internet screaming. I've heard several names talked about for this year's Hall of Fame. Was only able to get confirmation on 2 of them as of now. They are the Bella Twins and Jushin Thunder Liger. While Jushin Thunder Liger is a more than deserving pick, some fans are questioning the decision to induct Nikki and Brie Bella when there are a slew of superstars who competed before them worthy of induction. As Wrestlelamia has noted, the WWE could be slow in inducting acts such as Demolition, who participated in the class action concussion suit against the WWE. In any event, Mick Foley thinks the twins are worthy inductees. I believe the Bella Twins are very deserving inductees into the WWE Hall of Fame. Great athletes, excellent attitudes, mainstays in the Divas division for years before the Women's Revolution, and were tireless ambassadors for WWE well before Total Divas brought them mainstream attention. The WWE Hall of Fame has always faced criticism for its questionable inductees and lack of transparency in the selection process. The bottom line is that the Hall of Fame is as much a marketing tool to promote WrestleMania and the WWE's other projects as it is a means of honoring the industry's talents. If the Bella Twins are inducted, it should come as no surprise as it would be an excellent way to hype Season 5 of their reality series Total Bellas. Yes, there are many other inductees who should be inducted before the Bella Twins, but WWE doesn't care. WWE Stocks Downgraded. Speaking of the WWE needing help, Yahoo Finance is reporting that JP Morgan analyst David Karnofsky downgraded WWE from overweight to neutral and cut his price target from $80 to $47. Karnofsky isn't the first analyst to express concern about the WWE stock value. According to the article, Given the uncertain circumstances, Karnofsky said he would only be more constructive on the stock in the mid-30s price range. While it's likely WWE stock could bounce back, after all, how much lower can it drop? The company's stock could bottom out if the WWE were to experience another bad quarter or an unexpected scandal. Yahoo Finance writer Wayne Duggan Benzinga offered some help for the beleaguered company. The first step in WWE's path back to regaining market confidence should be the hiring of one or more well-respected executives to replace the recent departures. If the new management team can follow that announcement up with an impressive third-party WWE Network deal with a top-tier partner, WWE stock could be back on the right track. While we haven't heard any news about Fox's opinion of Friday Night SmackDown's ratings, the Blue brand has been faring well with the much-desired young demographic, as has Raw, which means the WWE should have breathing room with its TV rights deal, although it should keep working to improve the overall viewership. Baszler Bolting on NXT? During his NXT conference call, Triple H was also asked about Shayna Baszler's status as an NXT superstar. Hunter put an interesting spin on things, suggesting, "At this point I'm not 100% sure. As far as right now goes, I sort of look at this like sports teams in a way, and you've got to make deals to get people to go different places. As far as I'm concerned right now, Shayna Baszler's still an NXT talent until we make a deal for her to go someplace else." While this seems more like kayfabe, it's a good way to try and not only get NXT some exposure as more than a developmental brand and play up Baszler's status as a legitimate contender to Becky Lynch. Becky Lynch questions Ronda Rousey's return. Speaking of the Raw Women's Champion, Becky Lynch recently commented on why Ronda Rousey hasn't returned to the WWE. During an interview with Pro Wrestling Sheet's Ryan Satin, the man said, "I don't know, we haven't seen her. She's been off crying or doing whatever she is. I think she tried to cut off her own finger to avoid facing me. Is that what happened? I heard that's what happened. So I don't know, we'll see." Is Becky talking trash, or is Ronda Rousey on her way back to the WWE? Both Rousey and the WWE have been keeping things murky, as a surprise return would definitely shake up the women's division. For now, we'll have to settle for Becky versus Shayna. Second rumored Elimination Chamber match. WrestlingNews.co's Paul Davis is reporting that there appears to be a second match on tap for this year's Elimination Chamber event. The Wells Fargo Center has updated the card for the Chamber pay-per-view, and they are also advertising a SmackDown Tag Team Championship match between The New Day and the team of Miz and Morrison. The Miz and Morrison should prove to be fantastic opponents for The New Day, and the WWE should capitalize on this potential dream match. Well guys, there you have it, the wildest wrestling news, stories, and rumors you need to know. What do you think about these wild stories? Be sure to leave your comments, and don't forget to subscribe to our channel, follow us on Instagram and Twitter, and I'll see you next time for some more wrestling content.